Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. Thanks for tuning in. Our lesson today is the big picture. It's time for a moment to step off the accelerator, put on the brakes, get off the thoroughfare, get off the throughway, get off the interstate, get off the freeway, get off the highway, pull off to the side of the road, and let's just relax, sit back for a moment, and we want to take a look at the big picture, where we are, where we're going. A lot of times, a lot of people think a foreign language is like a boundless universe. There's no beginning, there's no end, and it just goes on and on and on. And they cannot comprehend that it's a finite amount of information. And that's exactly what we have in Spanish. It's a very finite amount of information. Look at the big board. It's a rectangle. We have the two tops and the two sides, right? We have four right angles. Well, the Spanish language is kind of like that. We can corral everything inside of a conceptual rectangle. Okay, the big picture. First of all, we want to review the verb numbers again. There are 10 things you can do to a verb in Spanish. I don't care where you are, what country you're in, Spanish is being spoken. Every verb that comes out of a person's mouth is going to be quantified from 0 to 9. It's going to be one of those 10 numbers. 0 is the infinitive. That's the AR, ER, and IR form of the verb. For example, I want to go to the beach. Quiero ir a la playa. I need to study. Necesito estudiar. We're going to eat real soon. Vamos a comer muy pronto. Comer, ir, and so on are infinitives. They don't change. The present participle is the ing form of the verb. For AR verbs, it's ando, and for ER and IR verbs, it is yendo. For example, hablar, talking, hablando, eating, comiendo, studying, estudiando. ing. Number 2 is the past participle. That's the equivalent of the English ed. Studied, hurried, listened. In Spanish, the past participle endings are ado, ido. Okay? So they always end in O when they have the form of the verb haber in front of them. For example, I have finished, he terminado. We have won the game, hemos ganado el partido. When you have an ado, ido word after any form of haber, it can only end in O. However, if you end up using a past participle and you do not have a form of haber immediately in front, then the past participle is going to function as an adjective, and it's going to be ado, ada, ados, hadas, or ido, ida, idos, and idas. For example, the windows are closed. Las ventanas están cerradas. If I want to say they have closed the windows, it would be han cerrado with an O, las ventanas. So the infinitive is the non-conjugated form of the verb. You leave it alone. It ends in AR, ER, or IR. When you go to a dictionary and look up a verb, to run, it's going to show you the infinitive, correr. The present participle is the ing form, ando yendo. Many times it is used with the verb estar. It is raining, está lloviendo. It is going to be raining, va a estar lloviendo. It has been raining a lot. Ha estado lloviendo mucho. AR verbs, it's ando, ER, and IR verbs, it's IENDO, iendo. Yeah, there's some Y verbs in there like leyendo and creyendo, and some stem changers and stuff. But the point of this lesson is not to teach these. We've already taught them. Go back to those lessons, and when we move on, we'll be covering all the forms of them again as well. But not in today's lesson. We have a lot to go over. This is the big picture. Past participle we just mentioned. It's the ed form in English, ado, ido in Spanish, if it comes after the verb haber, H-A-B-E-R, or any form of the verb haber. If you use an ado, ido without the verb haber or any form of haber in front of it, then the ado, ido functions as an adjective, and it's going to be ado, ada, ados, hadas, ido, ida, idos, and idas. Now we've got the present tense. Okay, There are 7 tenses in Spanish: the present, the preterite, imperfect, future conditional, present, and past subjunctive. There are 7 tenses in Spanish, right? This is not technically a verb tense. It's a verb structure: infinitive, present participle, past participle. The present tense is critical, crucial. If you want to get down to 8 and 9, you have to learn 3 and 4, the present and the preterite. And remember, preterite is spelled with an E. In textbooks, other people spell it without the E, so it's not a big deal. The present tense, we know it has all those stem changing verbs in it, right? All those crazy things that happen. You must learn those, and we've spent a lot of time on those. We studied them to get to our commands. Why is the present tense so important? Well, all A5C, this is not a talk about medicine and A1C, this is A5C. This is all 5 commands. All 5 commands originate from the present tense. So if you want to be able to do commands in Spanish, you won't get there unless you know the present tense, because basically they're one and the same. Also, verb number 8, the present subjunctive, which we've just had a couple of lessons on, our 2 prior lessons. The present subjunctive is based on your formal commands, right? Based on the present tense, and you'll never get to 8 without knowing 3. The preterite. There are 2 past tenses in Spanish: the preterite and the imperfect. The preterite is for a one-time thing that happened. We won, it rained, I saw the movie. Imperfect is for something that you used to do all the time, or something that you were in the progress of doing when referred to. When you called preterite, I was eating. Estaba comiendo or comía. Imperfect, what you used to do, what you would do in the past, and something that you were in the process of doing in the past when something else happened. So those are the 2 past tenses, preterite and imperfect. So we have present, we have the preterite and the imperfect to deal with the past, then we have the future. The future is indicated by will. The future is so easy in Spanish because you just take the infinitive. There are a few exceptions, we've gone over those, but for 99% of the verbs in Spanish, you take the infinitive and you add either a, as, a, hemos, or on. They all have an accent mark except hemos. For example, we will go, iremos, no accent. I will pay for the food, yo pagaré por la comida, pagaré with an accent. That's will. Conditional is would. Now there are 2 woulds in Spanish. The imperfect would is in the past, what you would do in the past all the time. The conditional would is what you would do today or tomorrow. So the conditional can refer to the present tense. It can refer to the present tense. For example, next week I would go. La semana próxima yo iría. I would go today, iría hoy. So the conditional is done like the future. You take the infinitive for 99% of the verbs and you add ia, ias, ia, íamos, ian. The same verb endings for the imperfect of er and ir verbs. Let's go down to the present subjunctive. Our last 2 lessons, present subjunctive. We know that the present subjunctive by itself does nothing. It's like a trailer sitting in an RV park. It's not going anywhere. To get that trailer to move, you need a tow vehicle, you need a trailer hitch, and then any verb can be opposite vowel present subjunctive. But how do you form the present subjunctive? Again, it comes from number 3. Once you get your usted command, basically you're home free. For example, let's take the verb hablar, to talk. The usted command, you go hablo, change that O to opposite vowel, which is E, hable. The to form of the present subjunctive, add an S, hables. The el-ella form of the present subjunctive is just like the usted command. So the yo form is hable, the to is hables, the el-ella, usted, it is hable. So you got hable, hables, hable. The we form, add an mos, hablemos, and the they form, add an n to hable, hablen. So once you get hable, listen, these are the 5. Hable, hables, hable, hablemos, hablen. It is as easy as that. Now remember, in the present subjunctive, in the we form, there are some things that happen. You just can't add mos to every usted command. Certainly, for most of them you can, but there is no e to ie, o to ue, u to ue, accented I or accented u in the we form of the present subjunctive. We'll talk about that later. And then the past subjunctive. To get to the past subjunctive, you have to know the preterite. If you don't know the preterite, you'll never get to the past subjunctive. And if you never get to be able to incorporate the two subjunctives, your Spanish will never be advanced level. It will be intermediate. If you want to get to the advanced level, you have to be able to correctly and comfortably use the subjunctive in normal, everyday conversation. And that's where we're headed, and that's where we will arrive, guaranteed. Okay, let me tell you something about the past subjunctive. The present subjunctive we learn to say like, I want you to go. Quiero que vayas. I want you to help. Quiero que ayudes. I hope we win. Espero que ganemos. Well, if I take I want you to go, quiero que vayas, just put it into the past tense, and now you got the past subjunctive. It's quería que fueras. I wanted you to go. Fueras. The fueras by itself does nothing. But where do you get the fueras? The past subjunctive, with no exceptions right here, is based on the ellos form of the preterite. So, you learn the preterite well. I told you we laid our foundation. We needed the infinitive in the middle, and then the present tense and the preterite on the other side of the engine block, right? One opposite the other. You have to learn all the irregular preterite. Once you learn the irregular preterite, you just take the ellos form, and they all end in O, like tuvieron, hablaron, comieron. You change that O out for an A, and immediately you have the ellos form of the past subjunctive. If you take the N off, for example, let's take tuvieron, change the O to A, you have tuvieran. Okay, so tuvieran is the ustedes, ellos form in the past subjunctive. To get to the yo form, just take the N off. It goes tuviera, tuvieras with an S, tuviera, tuviéramos with an accent, 3 vowels back, you just add mos, and tuvieran. It's as easy as that. So when do you use the past subjunctive? Basically 2 major usages. When you take the present subjunctive and say like, I need for you to help me, necesito que me ayudes. If you want to put that into the past tense, you would take necesito into the imperfect, necesitaba que me ayudaras. That's it. And then the other usage is unreal situation, contrary to fact situation. Someone says, Pablo, I need you to help me. Pablo, necesito por favor que me ayudes con esto. And you say, no puedo, lo siento mucho, I can't, I'm really sorry. Si tuviera tiempo, if I had time, that's contrary to fact. I don't have time. Si tuviera tiempo, tuviera is a past subjunctive. If I could, si pudiera, I would help, conditional, ayudaría. So if you look at a piano, there's a lot of keys. I don't know much about music, but I know there's a lot of keys on a keyboard for a piano, right? Well, in Spanish, our piano only has 10 keys. That's it. 10 keys, period. Now, you certainly can use the infinitive, right? With basically all of these different 7 tenses from the present through the past subjunctive. You can throw the present participle on, like we said before, it's raining, está lloviendo, and you can use the past participle with a bunch of these as well. So there are 7 verb tenses. The infinitive, the present participle, and the past participle are kind of like a utility player on a team. They can be used, picked, and chosen as you need to use them, as you want to select them. So what do I want you to know? What do you need to know? You need to know your verb numbers 0 through 9, and you have to know which verb number indicates what. Okay? We also want you to know that if you ever want to get to the 8, the present subjunctive, the high levels of communication in Spanish, you must know the present tense. That takes you through all the commands, and it takes you to the present subjunctive. If you ever want to get to the past subjunctive, you need to know your preterite, and that'll take you to verb number 9. Everything else we've done. Now, let's look here. There are 3 time frames in life. Either we're in the present tense, talking about the present tense, talking about now, today, now, or we're talking about the past, or we're talking about the future. There is nothing else. The present, past, or future. So what's the implication? The implication is that numbers 3 through 9 have to refer to either one or more of these time frames. The present tense obviously refers to the present. The preterite and the imperfect refer to the past. The future refers to the future. The conditional can refer to the present tense, I would do it right now, lo haría, or it could refer to the future. So the conditional has 2 time frames it could refer to, the present or the future. The present subjunctive, like quiero que vayas. That could refer to today, or I want you to go next week. So the present subjunctive can refer to the present or the future. Now the past subjunctive, I wanted you to go, quería que fueras. That's going to refer to the past. It could also refer, if you take it in the unreal situation, si tuviera dinero, if I had money, that's referring to now. So the past subjunctive can refer to the present time frame or the past. So no matter where we are in the universe of verbs and communication, I don't care what the language is, there are only 3 time frames, okay? I want you to know this because it's going to simplify this whole big thing. Foreign languages is like the biggest, take the 10 biggest and most difficult Lego projects, open up the packages and throw them all on the floor, and that's what a lot of people think a foreign language is. You'll never put it together. You won't put the pieces together. But we will, because we're giving you the big picture. We're showing you the parameters. There is a fence around the language. It is not, we have infinitives, but the language is not infinite in terms of a gazillion million verb tenses. Okay, we said that verb number 9, the past subjunctive, is formed based on the ellos form of the preterite. For example, comieron. The past subjunctive, change that O to an A, comieran, and you got it. You build the rest of it. Comiera, comieras, comiera, comiéramos, comieran. We have not studied the past subjunctive yet. We're going to get to it soon, and we'll go into detail. Let's come up here. All 5 commands. There are 5 commands in Spanish. In English, there's only 1. If I want to tell a friend, someone I don't know, a group of people, or say to ourselves, it's only go. Let's go. Go, 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 go. It's only 1 command. But in Spanish, there are 5 commands. And depending on whom you're addressing, that's going to determine which command you use. Now, we've taught you, see in blue, all these 4 in blue are opposite vowel. 4 of the 5 commands are opposite vowel. Remember, opposite vowel for AR verbs is E, and opposite vowel for ER and IR verbs is A. Take a look here. How do you form the usted command? You take the yo-o form of the present tense. All but 5 verbs end in O in the yo form of the present tense. The ones that don't are estoy, voy, doy, soy, and say. So you have to learn those usted commands on their own, irregular. Vaya, esté, de, sepa, and sea. Those are the 5 irregulars. But for all the rest of the verbs in the Spanish language, take the yo-o form of the present tense and you change that O to opposite vowel. AR opposite vowel is E, ER and IR opposite vowel is A. So once you get your usted command, how do you get the group command? All you do is take your usted command and add the letter N. For example, even the irregular one, vaya, vayan would be go to a group of people. Coma to an usted person, eat to a group of homeless people whom you're serving food. Coman, por favor, coman, eat, add an N. So the ustedes command is just the usted command with an N. How do you get to the we command or the let's form? Like, let's eat. You take coma, you take your usted command, the C means command, the usted command and add mos. Comamos, let's eat. Lea, let's read, leamos. Estudiar, let's study, estudiemos. Correr, let's run, corramos. The reason this is enveloped in a pink squiggly is because the E to IE, the O to UE, the U to UE like in jugar, and the accented I and accented U, it does not happen in the we or the let's form, right, of the present subjunctive or the we or the let's command of the all 5 commands. For example, let's play. It's not jueguemos, it's juguemos, right? Let's close the window, cerremos la ventana. It doesn't stem change. So, but we've already gone over this in commands, and we know it from our present tense. The present tense of cerrar. Cierro, cierra, cierra, cerramos, and then cierran. So again, to learn how to do your commands and your verb number 8, it's based on the present tense. How do you get your -2 command? You tell a friend not to do something. You take the word no, you take your usted command, and you add S. Like don't yell, no grites, don't eat it, no lo comas, don't look at me, no me mires, don't say anything, no digas nada. The reason these four are in blue and are clustered together, because guess what? They are all opposite vowel, all of them. Now the positive to command is in green for a reason, to distinguish it from the blue. This is regular vowel. You just take the LA form of the present tense. Again, all 5 commands come from the present tense. If I want to tell my friend to eat, I would say come. To an usted person, I would say coma. Estudiar. If I want to tell an usted person to study, estudie. Tell my friend to study, estudia. So that's how the 5 commands work. All but the positive to are OV, opposite vowel. We know that. Now the present subjunctive, our last 2 lessons, all are opposite vowel. All 5 forms are opposite vowel. What is the easiest way to do the present subjunctive? Well, if you know your commands, you know the present subjunctive. If you know the present tense yo-o form, you know your command. So there's a lot of ways to get to the correct answer. Here's a shortcut. The yo form in the present subjunctive is the same as the usted command. That's it. Coma. Mom wants me to eat more fruit. Mamá quiere que yo coma más fruta. Dad wants me to read more books. Papá quiere que yo lea más libros. So the yo form of the present subjunctive is the usted command. The to form of the present subjunctive is the usted command with an S, right? I want you to read. Quiero que tú leas. I want you to help me. Quiero que me ayudes. How do you get to the LA form of the present subjunctive? It's the same as the usted command. It's the same. Abra, abras, abra. Let's go here. Nosotros. You take the usted command and add mos. For example, if we're doing abrir, IR verb, the usted command would be abra, open up, the subjunctive. The subjunctive yo form would be abra. The to form, abras. The LA form would be abra. The nosotros would be abramos. For example, they want us to open the windows. Ellos quieren que nosotros abramos las ventanas, opposite vowel. And the ellos, ellas is the usted command with an N. So if you know the usted command, you're home free for the present subjunctive. However, notice this has this little pink squiggly around the nosotros. Just like in the we, let's command, they don't stem change E to IE, O to UE, or U to UE, nor does the accented U or the accented I show up. So there are 5 exceptions here and in the nosotros form of the present subjunctive. Okay, so let's take a look at the big picture. We want you to know all 10 numbers, all of our verb numbers, and we want you to know which verb number means what. We really want you to know the present and the preterite, because to get to 7 and 8, to get to number 8 and 9, you have to know the present and the preterite. We know there are only 3 time frames in life. There's the present, past, or future. We know that the present refers to the present, the preterite and imperfect refer to the past, the future to the future, the conditional can refer to today. If I could, si pudiera, right? That's a past subjunctive. Iría, I would go. Iría, conditional, I would go. I would buy it. Lo compraría hoy, if I had money, si tuviera dinero. Lo compraría could refer to today. Lo compraría hoy, I would buy it today, or I would buy it next week. So the conditional can refer to the present or the future. The present subjunctive, I want you to go. Quiero que vayas hoy. Quiero que vayas la semana próxima. I want you to go next week. Present subjunctive can refer to what time frames? Present and future. The past subjunctive, for an unreal situation. If I could, si pudiera, if I had money, si tuviera dinero, that could be referring to this instant, today. So the past subjunctive, even though it says past, can refer to the present. And of course, it can refer to the past, like I wanted you to go last week. La semana pasada, yo quería que tú fueras. I wanted you to help last week. Quería que tú ayudaras. Know your verb numbering system. Let it help you. Remember, the piano in Spanish is stunted. It's short. There are only 10 keys in the Spanish language piano. 3 time frames in any language. Verb number 9 is based on the ellos form of the preterite. 4 of your 5 commands are opposite vowel. How do you get to the usted command? You go to the yo-o form of the present tense. All but 5 forms end in O. Change that O to opposite vowel. Opposite vowel for AR verbs is E. Opposite vowel for ER and IR verbs is A. Then you're home free. Just follow the formula. And then the positive to command is just regular vowel, the LA form of the present tense. And there are some irregular positive to commands, much like there are some irregular usted commands as well. And we studied those when we studied the commands. And of course, the present subjunctive, they're all opposite vowel. If you get the usted command, you're home free. Make sure, though, in the nosotros, that you don't stem change E to IE, O to UE, U to UE, or do the accented I or the accented U. Okay? That's the big picture. So everything we're going to do, everything we're going to say is going to be based on this right here. All right, that's good. That's the big picture. We got off the freeway, we exhaled, and we look at the big picture and figure out, okay, where have we been? Where are we going to 8 and 9? And how do you form them all? And what's the inner relationship and so on and so forth, okay? This is critical to help you to understand and to simplify the magnitude of all these verbs that we're studying. Okay, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you are so inclined. And we'll see you back real soon with the next lesson. Tengan un gran día. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.